All right. Well, looks like we are live. I did that just for you, Madeline.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
You're welcome. So, hi there. I am Amalia Natalio of Karmic Kindness, and I have the extraordinary Madeline Parker with me with her beautiful springtime background.
I wish I could put sparkles on it.
Oh, I know that'd be fun. Like a little something.
Yeah,
Although I feel like it'd be distracting.
that's true. Could be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're here at Cosmic Chat Time talking about this upcoming Scorpio full moon, which is happening on Monday, May 12th at 12:56 p.m. Eastern.
Mhm.
And that would be, I didn't do the math
It's
beforehand,
22
12,
degrees.
11, 10,
Oh,
9:56 p.m.
okay.
Yes, 22 degrees, 12 minutes. Um, okay, so Scorpio, I think because of the placement of Scorpio in my chart, can be somewhat challenging at times. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Pluto went retrograde. What was it, yesterday, Madeline?
No,
A
it
couple days ago?
grade last on Sunday, a couple days ago.
Sunday, a few days ago. So we're in this rather, I would say, challenging period, potentially challenging period of time, because we're being pushed upon by Pluto. And Pluto is all about death and rebirth, about transformation, about alchemy, about going into the hidden depths of our being and dealing with shadow elements of ourselves that we have done a really, really fabulous job in some cases of tucking away and not addressing. So now we're really being encouraged to take a look at some of these areas. And that oftentimes can feel like a heavy, heavy lift. It's almost like you've been carrying around these bags, okay, of all the stuff that you've worked really hard to not deal with. And you're used to the bags now. But now all of a sudden the bags feel like they have been filled even further to the point where you can't carry them anymore without feeling the burden of them. And it's easier for you to put them down and to deal with what's in them. Take some things out, review, reassess, and maybe revisit some of those experiences, some of which you'll put back in your bag and some of which you'll leave where they are and find a space of healing. So the sign of Scorpio, I love to connect this to the body because I feel like there's always information that can come through our bodies. The genitals, the anus, the urethra, and the prostate are all connected to the sign of Scorpio. So be aware of these areas for you. For men and women, you might notice some just some disharmonies that may occur there. Just be aware of that and just take extra care. Okay. Let me do the impact chart first, and then I'm going to go into the different aspects. So those who have points or planets between 17 and 27 degrees of the fixed signs are going to really you're going to feel it. And because of Pluto in retrograde, and because Pluto rules the sign of Scorpio, I feel like this could be a really intense time for those who have points and planets between 17 and 27 degrees of the fixed signs of Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius.
You might want to throw in the 23-degree Leo, lower with Pluto squaring 3 degrees, just throwing that in there.
Oh, that's true
Anybody,
too.
yeah, any lower degree fixed signs are feeling it too with the Pluto.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Madeline. That is a fantastic point.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So really, fixed sign people, just buckle up. Just be ready. Because really throughout the 0 to 29 degrees, 30 degrees, you're going to feel it in some fashion, some more strongly than others. Unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, I have quite a few planets and points in the fixed sign. So I'm already, I can feel
Feeling it.
that shift, and it's really uncomfortable, but yet I know that there's this gift on the other side of it. So there's the impact chart for everyone to have a sense of things and kind of take a look at that. You can, if you're watching this on the replay, you can pull up your chart and kind of compare and see where things land. And obviously you can see the degree points too. Now, this is a fairly active moon. We have some really beautiful supportive aspects. And then we have a couple, well, one in particular that I think could potentially feel a little bit challenging. So obviously, as every full moon, you've got the sun and the moon opposing each other in the sky. The moon obviously is in Scorpio and the sun is in Taurus. So Scorpio, emotional depth, Taurus, grounded clarity. So, you know, when you pair those two together, there's a little bit of tension between the two, yet the gift of that is highlighting full moon, a completion of some sort, or some area of course correction that you will be able to see during this time period. Now, the moon is also opposing Uranus in Taurus. So this could feel a little bit disruptive. I mean, Uranus is the planet of innovation, of surprise, sudden shocks. So there may be some disruptions within your emotional world. Obviously you're going to be confronting shadows. There will be a sense of tension between feeling free and independent and also feeling a sense of connection and closeness with others. So be aware of that. And then a really nice aspect of trine with Saturn in Pisces. Scorpio is intense. Saturn is a planet of discipline. So now you will be given the opportunity to integrate any emotional depth in a practical way. That's how I see that anyway. That's what I'm holding on to. Anything that comes up, I will now be able to integrate it in a way that feels practical and sustainable. And then we also have the moon trine Neptune in Aries. So there's an intuitive understanding and courage to separate from attachments, which I really love as a supportive aspect to this full moon. And your intuition will be amplified and giving you the courage to move forward in some area of your life due to that Aries energy. Like I said, there is some intensity because it's Scorpio, intensity because of the Pluto retrograde, but yet I do really like the Saturnian and Neptunian support that we have right now. And then I also wanted to bring in the gene key, and I love this gene key for this particular moon cycle for a couple of reasons. Let me pull up the card here. And just so everyone knows, I'm actually patting myself on the back here. And Madeleine, you will be absolutely impressed with me that I finally recorded a video that gives a little bit of background to the gene keys and what this means during these cosmic chats.
With all the stuff that you've got going on, that's impressive.
Thank you. I haven't posted it yet, but it is recorded. I'm going to do some editing and then I will get it up and I will link it in the description sometime in the next couple of days. So just be aware of that on the horizon. So this is Gene Key 23. It is the Siddhi, S-I-D-D-H-I of quintessence, the gift of simplicity and the shadow of complexity. Now, when I'm talking about the shadow, the gift, and the Siddhi, think of it as octaves of a similar energy. And we're experiencing different levels of that during this time period, particularly on the full moon. And use these words as just as a place of inquiry or contemplation. So you can look at this like, where in my life do things feel complex? How can I simplify, bring them into a simplistic form so that I can access the quintessence? And the quintessence is like, if you think about this in terms of the elements, we have the elements, the four elements, and then we have ether. Ether is the birthplace of all that is and all that can be. And the quintessence is actually that. It is ether. It is also the alchemizing air center. It is in the I Ching, which is also connected to this. I don't want to get too lost in the sauce here, but the key word for the I Ching, or the keynote for it, is splitting apart. So it's almost like we separate from the complexity of our life. We get out of our thoughts and we are literally in this place of being and creating. And that's what quintessence ultimately stands for. So this period of time right now, I feel like is such a potent time of really simplifying our lives and coming into a place of divine devotion and creation with all that exists, and really being truly centered in who we are. And I love the grounded nature of the Taurus energy too, to really help us anchor into that space. What do you think of that, Madeline? Do you have any thoughts about
Well,
this
I do think
particular
it's
key?
interesting because I guess the epiphany would relate to the Aquarian or Uranian aspect of the transit. And then the ring of life and death, it relates because we're looking at death and rebirth. And alchemy is this whole deal, or
Right.
all a science, in my opinion. It is a science. And the channel for knowing, well, I'm going to look at the chart now with all of that. I'm just kind of going to
Yeah.
curious.
So so it's so interesting how and I saw you like kind of turning your head, like reading all the notes, that all of those things connect with different aspects of this. So it's like astrology in a way, where you can take, that you can look at your sun sign and get a general idea of someone, but then you look at their moon and you learn a little bit more. You look at their ascendant, you learn little bit more. Then you can go even deeper in, okay, well, what sign is it in? Okay, deeper, what degree is it in? Okay, deeper, what aspects, what other connections are there? Okay, a little bit deeper, what houses are they in? It's like all these different ways that you can go deeper and deeper and deeper. The same is said of this, all of these kind of these little notes around the edge of the card all have different meanings and connections to Gene Key 23. And so there's such a richness and a robustness to this work. And at the same time, looking just simply at the shadow, the gift, and the city, the words complexity, simplicity, and quintessence, you're able to access this wealth of information and knowledge that can be brought through just those 3 words, which to me, it's
Well,
so cool.
yeah, and complexity is definitely a word that that I associate with Scorpio and Pluto.
True. Yeah. Okay. I never thought about that, but that would
Yeah.
make total sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
And is
um,
23 to the sun, where the sun is, or where the
it,
moon is?
the sun, where the sun
Okay.
is. Yeah. Now, and I share this in the video that I recorded too, because, the sun is where is the biggest, most potent luminary in the sky that directly affects us. We get 70% of the energy that we receive from the cosmos comes through the sun in the form of neutrinos. Those neutrinos affect all of us, whether we realize it or not. And where the sun is in the sky is kind of like the flavor of the energy that is coming through that we are experiencing. So right now we're in Gene Key 2. It's got a little bit of a different energy, but in the recording that I made, I talk about how that directly relates to my life right now. And I think that's where it can be really fun to contemplate some of these words and then take it a little bit further into how the outside world and even the energy of the sun and where the sun is in the sky can affect us in a really personal way. And then finally, before I hand the mic over to Madeline, we have got our Scorpio flower. Really funny because I just saw a client of mine owns she's a fairly well-known floral designer. She's got patents on some of her stuff. She's really fantastic. She was doing a live yesterday at her flower farm talking about how all the peonies have come in. And what do we have here? But
Peony.
the peony is our Scorpio full moon flower. Now, the peony activates magnetism. The message is you're able to attract abundance. Now, to me, this feels very Venusian. So even though the moon is not in Taurus, the sun is. And Taurus is very much to me about beauty. And I love this flower. It's just such a gorgeous, beautiful, rich, luscious flower. And Taurus to me reminds me of that, those earthly pleasures, those things that we really enjoy. It's directly connected to the financial world and the material world, and creation of abundance. And it's the other piece of this too is, and I think this is a really powerful message for everyone right now, especially if you have some direct connections to this particular full moon cycle, is to have gratitude for the beauty of life. And the beauty of life isn't always quote unquote pretty or easy. The beauty of life is the full spectrum of experience. At least I'm going to keep telling myself that over the next few weeks, that this experience, whether uncomfortable or comfortable or expansive or contracting, is a beautiful part of being human and being here on Earth right now. So the peony for the Scorpio full moon. And that is all I have for everyone for the moment. Madeline.
All right. Well, all right. I'll jump in. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars. We're going to talk about both those planets here in a minute. And then Pluto is in retrograde, just as you said, turned retrograde. Pluto represents the hidden, which represents our subconscious. It represents our psyche, represents psychic abilities. It represents the occult is not evil, it's hidden. It represents astrology because it's the unseen forces. It's the science. It's a sacred science, but it's unseen. The powers that are at play are unseen. And in I'm studying Hermetic. I'm studying all ancient stuff right now. I'm really into it. And what they say is that the hidden is actually what's more powerful, because in the Hermetic wisdom, as above, so below, as within, so without. So like I'm having a lot of clients coming to me during this full moon in Scorpio who are really adept at power of manifesting, really into law of attraction. They have it right. They have it really great. And they are struggling. They're like, why isn't it not working? What's going on? Full moon Scorpio reveals the undercurrent, because as within, so without. You can do all the law of attraction, all the mind work. You can go higher mind, which is great. But the thing that's actually going to attract abundance in your life is the state of your internal feminine. She's the magnet. She's your attractor. It's your subconscious. It's the energetic frequency within, the unseen that is within, that is the most powerful force in your life. So as much as we may not like to reveal that which is that we have hidden, oppressed, pushed down in our subconscious, a wounding, an issue, the full moon Scorpio, see now Pluto's going, Pluto travels about 3 degrees and then it goes retrograde all the time. It's always traveling. It always covers back the track that it has already progressed. So what's it doing? It's making us go through something on the external as Pluto's transforming us. Pluto wants to Scorpio full moons want to transform us. I had a big bird just fly up to the window. So Scorpio, we're always evolving. We're shedding old skins. That's the death card in tarot. We're shedding ego perceptions and limited perceptions of who we are. Now, Pluto wants us to keep growing. And as it goes through our chart, it's pushing us beyond our abilities. Issues show up for that 3 degree that is traveling. Then all this stuff shows up. Then it goes retrograde. So you can deep down go in and heal the issue, the trauma, the pain body. Pain body is Pluto, so that we can heal it, purge it, bring it out into the light, transform it, and then Pluto can take us forward. So let's just do that really quick. So we had Pluto. This is interesting because Pluto went retro. Pluto went into stationary. Pluto's going to hit 1 degrees 22 when it goes direct again. And it hit 1 degrees 22 in January 10th. So some issue is showing up from mid-January that indicates, now it could be confused because you could think, oh, it's a karmic thing because we're clearing a lot of karma. It's actually what we call, it's a wake. It's in the wake of our karma. It's the old habits. When Pluto goes retrograde, we're breaking old habits. We're looking at ourselves. We're facing our patterns. So these karmic things, we created karmic results that we're clearing and we're purging, and that's going to get a really mega purge here when Saturn goes into 29 degrees Pisces, end of this month. Is going to be the big untangle knot, big karmic release done. We're cleared. We're out of it. But until then, you have a wake of the karma, like a wake, like you're going through water. There's a wake. So the wake is the wounding, the issues that cause the karma. We can unclear the karma, but we need to heal the wounding that created the wake, that created the karma. So that shows up as a little bit of a wake, pain, issue showing up. So now what we're doing with this full moon is going to reveal it. That's what full moons do. They reveal things. Pluto is hidden. Pluto is in retrograde. So that's even deeper hidden stuff coming up, trauma, body pain, issues. I mean, you know, all our junk. I mean, plumbing is Pluto. So we're looking at this undercurrent. And by the way, like for instance, if you were to pull up, let's say you've got like laminate tile on your floor and you pull it up and you see a rotted floorboard that has been rotting in water. That's what Scorpio does. It reveals the underneath, the rotted, the toxic, the impure that we want to purify and transform on this new moon. Full moon.
So Madeline, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
So, and forgive me if I missed it. So you said on January 10th,
11th,
Pluto
yeah.
hit that 1 degree, 22 minute mark. When is it hitting it again?
October 14th.
October 14th. Okay. I think maybe you did say that. I just missed it. Okay.
I don't think I did mention that. That's when it goes direct again. So it's 6 months period. Actually, it's a 5 month period, but you got to give it a little time for shadow. So it's like half the year Pluto is retrograde and half the year is direct. It's always even. Not all the planets do that.
Right.
So,
True.
yeah. So this is what you call this full moon is going to be the full moon where it's kind of a doozy. Well, you know, it's a little bit of a troubling one that shows the internal wounding trauma that is causing you to block your abundance. That is stopping you from resonating at the frequency to have what you want. You have so Pluto reveals a fear-based attachment to something. Like for instance, let's say there's a boat. There's a boat and you got to let go of the marina to let the boat out into the water. You got to let go. You got to allow, but so what happens with Scorpio is you have a fear-based attachment to something, which means you don't believe in the creator or the universal protection or support. And then Pluto rips it out of your hands and you're like, but then you're okay. So this is a transformative full moon that transforms our lower density, fear-based, trauma-based, pain body issues, attachments, all of that transforms us into faith, let go, flow. And the great thing about these full moons is pain body and you don't like to go through them. The other side is just great. I mean, it's a diamond. It's the process of turning a coal into a diamond.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and I got to turn my heating down. Sorry. Getting hot.
Well, I had the water going here for my friend's cat that I'm cat sitting, and she was taking a sip and then she left, and I was like, oh, I can't let that drip for the next hour and a half. Yeah. So, okay, here we go. Did you want to share the chart?
Chart, yeah, because there's a lot to talk about in this full moon, because we do have quite a few things that are going to kind of play out around it that are going to be challenging, because we're going to have a Mercury squaring Pluto. So Mercury squaring Pluto is going to be tough. If you've got planets connecting with that early degree, there's that early degree fixed. I'm lucky. This isn't hitting me. I had other tough transit. This one's not for me. I'm happy about that. But basically, you're going to hear bad news. You're going to hear some kind of triggering information, knowledge that upsets you. But, you know, again, these are just triggering lower density fear-based energies in your psyche body. That's hidden. So for you people, you're going to have it triggered out of you by some sort of information, contrary, disruptive news, upset, somebody hurts your feelings. That's going to trigger some stuff. But that's okay. It comes up. With Pluto retrograde, you're going to look at yourself, and because what's going to happen with Pluto, with that square, something can't be controlled. Something outside of you that's upsetting you, that's an issue, and you just can't do anything about it. There's like literally nothing you can do. So you just sit in the pain and you just feel like death. That's why it's death and rebirth. There's a death feeling, like ending a relationship or finding out somebody's cheating on you, or finding out somebody in a relationship has more debt than you thought, and now you guys have to pay a bunch of money. But there's some kind of bad news that triggers you, that's hidden, that comes out, that's upsetting. Now, the lesson on that would be, you know, both see, the thing with Pluto and retrograde is it's you. It's always you. So as much as it may seem like the other person, you're going to have to look at what are you resonating at? Your frequency. You're resonating at that frequency of betrayal or of, so you got to go in and see a therapist. Good time to go see a therapist. Get an astrology report. Go see Amalia for some soul coaching. Dig deep down and do some work on yourself, right? Now that's the toughie part of this transit. Now, so then the other thing that's kind of interesting about the transit is it's opposite Uranus, which gives a surprise nature to the entire transit. Surprise, out of the blue, shock. Oh, so now that again is an opposition. Oppositions are not pleasant. Oppositions are tough. So it's an argument. It's out of the blue, emotional uproar. Pluto, triggered paranoia is Pluto. Triggered paranoia pushes you into an argument. Flare up. Intensity, intense stuff comes up around full moon Scorpio, around money, sexuality, relationships. We're activating deep fears, right? So fear of death, fear of being broke, so a lot of these basically what this is it reveals a place in your soul that you haven't grown in trust and in light. You haven't grown in light. You don't know the light is there. You haven't found the light yet around this topic. So you're manifesting it so that the universe and your creator can show you that this is a material result of past energy. You're manifesting because now you're going to transform this, and you're going to transform into a higher frequency inside because of this, which you're going to heal this thing, and you're no longer going to attract this experience into your life. So you have a transformational rebirth. You shed that energy. And so it happens. It never feels good. It's not easy. So that's one aspect that's going to probably be challenging for quite a few people, and that is the challenge of around. Now we've got the South Node and the North Node in on this, so there's a release. So there's a let go. Like for instance, let's just use you find out someone's cheating and you let go of your relationship. You end the relationship. You find out, oh, I don't know, there's some situation, let's say there's something draining your finances, you look in the bank and you end that, I'm just using like an example, you end that, you find out you've got a whole bunch of like subscriptions that are draining your money, you end that, boom, 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 you let go of stuff, you're releasing things, you're releasing your trauma, you're releasing burden things, you're releasing relationships, friendships, or ways of living that are toxic. It's revealing toxic patterns with that Pluto retrograde, and you're releasing it. A lot of people this is the kind of full moon that gives you a bottom out. If you're an alcoholic, you hit a bottom. An addict, if you're addicted to something, you hit a bottom on these full moons, and then you reveal the wounding within you that's causing you to seek escape, that's causing you to run away from yourself. It's too painful. You're running away from, you don't want to feel the pain. On these full moons, you want to feel pain. Allow the pain. I get people calling me sometimes in a lot of pain. I'm saying, just trust the pain, ride it through. The other side of that pain is power. This is a full moon where you're going to transform your pain into power. You're going to feel that pain, and it's going to come in, and it's an old pattern, and it's shitty, and you're just going to go, bam, you're going to pull yourself inside with that empowered center, because we've done a lot of work, a lot of people have in all these transits. You say, not letting this pull me down again. Nope. Powering this up. We're going to grow above it. I'm going to use this pain to propel me to become bigger and better than this, and not let this impact me anymore. Like, done. Not letting it impact you. Didn't you use the word done earlier?
Possibly. Maybe I don't know if I did now or when we were talking earlier.
So yeah, well, that
Yeah.
would be now. There would be something done about this energy. Like, you're not carrying this, what do you call it? Carrying this baggage. You're not carrying this fight anymore. Like, you don't
Yeah.
want this anymore. You're clear. You've grown past it. That you're not going to tolerate something anymore. That's now Mars being the, now we haven't looked at Mars. Mars is, there's a beautiful aspect to this. Let's talk about the really positive side of it. So the beautiful side of it all is that we have Mars building a trine to Venus, a really nice, nice transit right there. So we've got Mars in passionate energy. So if you're in the right relationship, some issue pops up, then you have passionate sex, make up sex afterwards. If a big traumatic situation, we've got passionate lovemaking afterwards. But because there's a positive healing that brings you together. Because the other thing we have is Jupiter sextiling Chiron. And Jupiter sextiling Chiron means we're able to expand, we're able to go forward now with something because we've healed, we've overcome. So in my opinion, this trauma pain shows up, we get triggered, we find our processing around it. We go, nope, I know I've been around this block. I know this pain, what this pain means. Just write it through, get it to the other side, and release whatever you have to let go of, release. And then there's this harmonious, I've healed something, there's a healing. And because of that healing, I can now go forward with something that's more higher vibrational. So there's success as a result of whatever pain body or trauma it comes in, and then you feel boom, because that Mars is in Leo, which is like it's like getting over the hump. I think we get over this hump really quick. I think the struggles of this full moon happen snap, and you get over it snap. Faster than
Would be
you normally
fabulous.
would over this issue. Whatever issue arises around this Scorpio full moon, I have a feeling we go into transformative powers around it really quickly, like within a day or two. And then you're going to see you see now a lot of times these squares at the same, something gets blocked and it's very problematic and it's blocked and it's upsetting, but then there's other open doors. The universe is trying to make you go this way towards that Saturn Pisces direction. So, which is where all the trines have been meeting all year, have been meeting to that end degree of Pisces. All of it, which is to clearing the karmic knot, untangling past life karmic knots. So the big thing you want to do on this full moon is not create more karma, not to have a karmic response that creates karma, not to lash out on somebody, not to get aggressive, not to blame. What else would be karmic? So sort of retribution or get mad at them or try to pay back or anything like that. So you're going to want to walk through this full moon in grace, because we really don't want to create any more karma right now. Because if you create karma, it can really slap you right now, because we're not really allowed, like energetically, in the way the planets are going right now, we're really clearing karma. So what happens when you're really on a mass clearing karma, if you go into a little bit of an old way of behaving that creates karma, it really can, you trip up pretty fast.
Ah,
It's
yeah.
instant karma, like instant bam, like, oh, don't,
Oi.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, so basically, this full moon is here to transform us into more abundant, attracting, is transforming us to be able to be the people that we're needing to be in order to take our next step forward with the North Node. We're going to have Saturn moving into a new house, where a new beginning. So we're literally starting a new 29-year chapter with Saturn in Aries. So with this full moon in Scorpio being ruled by Mars, which is Aries, it rules Aries, we can't do these beginnings unless we have a certain amount of internal strength that we've established over these things that pull us down or that debilitate us or that knock us off emotionally.
Right.
Because Scorpio is trying to teach us to not be so emotionally volatile, emotionally, we're trying to be Taurus.
Even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the Taurus field wants to activate in our life, which is the energetic field that we create. We're an effortless abundance. We become manifestors of effortless progress in our material, which is what astrology is trying to help us do. So,
All
uh,
right.
yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So now we'll go out to how it actually plays out in everybody's chart.
Yep. Starting with Aries. And
Starting with Aries.
yeah, and anyone that's joining us live, and even if you're catching the replay, feel free to ask any questions in the comments. Madeline and I will check those out. And those who are here live, you've got access to us right now. So if there's something that you want to to share or something that's come up, or you have questions about something that we're talking about, feel free to let us know in the comments.
Yep, do. I did mention that on a post for people to sign up and ask us questions. So hopefully somebody does. Maybe they
Yeah.
will. All
And
right.
don't forget the card, Madeline, for Aries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Believe it or not, last time I think we left out 2 or 3.
No
Or I
way.
just couldn't find it. I did it too quickly, maybe. But yeah, I couldn't find them. Aries.
All right.
Okay, so Aries, you guys have Pluto is going to be in your 5th house. Hang on, let me get to Aries here. Am I the wrong way? Oh, wrong way. Let me get to Aries. Okay, so Aries, you guys have Pluto in your I'm sorry, that's Libra. I always mix it up. You guys have Pluto in your 11th house and squaring Mercury in your 2nd. So that's going to be upsetting news about money, um, concerns about some sort of disappointment or some sort of debt shows up, some sort of bill comes in. You've got Pluto in your 11th house. Um, it could be some kind of a conflict, or it could be conflict involving a friends group, surprising shock energy there, surprise. Then we've got that could be upsetting with we're going to have the South Node in your 6th house. So it could be a stressful thing that happens that you then suddenly release. Don't forget this is also trining the South Node. I hope I put that in there and the nodes. So you're going to be letting go of, it's almost like if something upsetting happens and it's such a scary thing, or it just freaks you out that you just say, forget it. I'm not going to worry about it. It is what like you suddenly get like $1,000 tax bill or something. And you're just like, okay, well, there goes me trying to save money for that thing, whatever. And you just pay it and you let go. And then that let go, that's the other thing you have to understand about Scorpio is when we hold on to energies like money and we're fear based on money, Scorpio full moons will make us have to spend it. And then that opens up the chi energy of our money, and then we attract abundance. So if you lose money on these kind of lunations, it's an indicator that you're about to get a lot of money. You've got forces of the universe is probably in your chart somewhere that more money wants to come into you, but you're blocking it through this sort of, I'm just making ends meet energy all the time, and that can really block the flow. So sometimes you want to, if you want to break that, go donate money somewhere, just go give somebody $50, $100, and that just kind of breaks that energy. And so anyway, that's what's going to happen for Aries, because this is squaring Mercury in the 2nd, Taurus, the sun is there. And then you've got this Mars in your 5th house. So, and then you're going to have the Saturn coming into your 1st house. So there's some new creative venture project coming in, or new relationship, because there are other things going on with Aries that indicate relationship. But a new relationship comes in, a new creative project that creates financial hope or help through a relationship, friendship, support. But this transforms into some sort of financial solution, and whatever problem shows up with the finances pushes you to make a financial solution that actually really elevates your finances. Because to have Mars making that nice trine to your 5th house is a really good solution. Something shows up that actually really takes your life forward in a, which is probably going to, think of the new moon Scorpio November 1, by the way. So that may show up as some sort of lucrative solution, or a lucrative answer shows up here. So at the same time that there's some sort of shakeup and fear around money that scares you, a answer comes in, a new solution. It's exciting. You're like, woo, it's fun. A really fun project comes in, and it kind of pulls this other problem into perspective. So, and then that fear about, am I going to make the bills? Am I going to do it? It just sort of drops away all of a sudden, because this is where you have a transformation, because you get to the edge and then you survive it. And I always think of Laird Hamilton, who talks about being at the bottom of the ocean. He's a big wave surfer and he thinks that's it. He's going to die. And then all of a sudden something comes along and he's up at the top of the water and he lived. And he's like, wow, I guess I'm not dying now. And then you feel like alive and excited again. So that's for Aries, Moon is in your 8th house. So that's going to reveal perhaps a financial debt bill upset. But again, an open door, another avenue opens up that is the salvation. But what that means is that you discover that the universe is there for you, and that these are just perception spheres, that the universe, they're really, you're going to be fine. So then you become more of an in faith person. You suddenly take more risks. You feel like life is not as scary. I can just live and let go, and everything's okay. So that is for Aries.
All right. So Aries, you have this kind of bright, happy card for
Oh.
an eighth house transit, which I think is rather interesting. But what's so even more interesting about this is I feel like it also has relevance to what you were talking about, Madeline, with the 11th and the fifth houses, the
Mm-hmm.
house of
Yeah.
friendships. And there's an awareness, this openness. You also mentioned perception. It transforms your ordinary perception of things into
Mm-hmm.
something that could be potentially extraordinary. And you feel more connected to everyone and everything. You have a sensitivity and a compassion for other people, that is very much having to do with the people in your world, your friendships, the groups that you're associated with. So, the white water lily for Aries would be a really great flower to work with or to bring into your mind when you are being activated, or when some challenge occurs. Just like imagine this flower surrounding you. Imagine it's like maybe they're raining down on you. Imagine maybe one that's like right here at your heart center, connecting you with yourself. As a way of helping to remedy whatever struggle or challenge might show up for you. So, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, because that's the orange color, which is creativity, which is Leo. And they've got Mars in their fifth house, and it's a relationship house. So creative friendships, co-collaborative entrepreneurial ventures is the big way through. That makes you it's very happy. That's a nice card.
Yeah, it is. It is a nice one. All right, Taurus.
Taurus. The Taurus field. I've been loving the Taurus field. The Taurus field is what Taurus is all about, which I will talk another time. We can go in depth to that.
Although
If I
the Taurus field is spelled differently, but
Yeah,
it's the
but
same.
the image of the Taurus is actually the first part of drawing of the Taurus field.
Oh, neat. That's cool.
Yeah. So anyway, so Taurus, it's happening. The sun is in your first. This is in your seventh house. So this could be challenging for Taurus relationships. They may be ending. I know Taurus, couple Taurans that may be at that point. But the reveal of something in your relationship, hidden situation. It could be a partnership. It could be a lawyer. Like you hire a lawyer and you suddenly discover they're not really helping you. They're not really on your team, or you get really triggered by the behavior of your spouse. The relationship may be fine and you stick together, but it's just that you're getting triggered by some of their nascostic behavior, which would be hidden behavior. It's an Italian word. So some sort of, and you get triggered paranoia, which is Scorpio, and you fear the worst, but then you go through a transformation and you realize that you're the one that's carrying this wound with Pluto in retrograde, that you've got to heal your fears of abandonment issues. You start to face them, but it could also be the relationship does end and you reveal that this isn't the right relationship, and the person reveals their true colors and they're not the person you thought they would be. So there's triggering involving relationships, perhaps ending it, and or transforming it, or transforming your life. If you're single, you transform something within you that enables you now to be in a relationship. You heal something about your trauma, about relationships, and you're now able to sort of heal that aspect of yourself and go forward in a relationship and be committed. Um, Now, with the Mercury squaring your first house, Pluto in your 10th, there could be some bad news, setback about money in career, or let's say you are, there's could be a fear about money and some kind of bad news or triggering, or not feeling value, or somehow your self-worth gets triggered, and you may feel like you have to end a career, or um, with Pluto in your 10th, you're becoming more empowered. You're becoming more, something could feel like a setback in a career venture and involving the relationship too. But again, with that Mars trining in your fourth, a solution is going to come in. And Mars is trining Venus, which rules the sun, in your 12th house. So some sort of assistance from family or another living, if you're moving, let's say you're going to split up and you have to move, somebody's there, you can go stay with a sibling. You've got other alternatives coming in that are supportive. And if you're not splitting up, then you're just in, say you're just going through a conflict in your relationship, then you both decide to change something in your home, or you spend some time together. Maybe you go on a trip together, you go on a staycation together. Passion, Mars, passion, trining Venus. If your relationship ends, you could be connecting with a true person if that's happening. But if it's not ending, then you reconnect and you travel and you take a honeymoon period together. That could very well be, and then you heal the relationship that way. But communication, you could also just get triggering of communication, an argument or a conflict with work, 10th house, or it could just be that you fear your stability in work. And you're going through a scorpionic fear of lack scarce mentality. So you're going through a triggering and a fear around scarce or lack mentality that's triggering you. But then, you know, that's all going to work out because something around the fourth house, because Mars is ruling this full moon and it's trining Venus. So if you are having a financial scare, something works out involving your fourth house and your 11th house involving Mars and Venus. So, what was that scenario I just gave? If a relationship was ending, another relationship would come in and support you. If there's a financial scare, there is some sort of support from family, and Venus being in your eighth, you could actually just be motivated and driven to overcome this situation, or the situation is just naturally overcome. In other words, there's some sort of support coming from your fourth and your 12th. Could be family support. It could be that you earn money in a way from your fourth that enables you to support the fear or the, so in other words, some kind of fear around money comes up that makes you have to make an alternative shift, which you can make because the door is open that way. Does that make sense?
I think so. I think this flower may help a little bit.
Okay, good.
And I feel like this feels very potent, not necessarily because of where the moon is, but because of the other aspects of this particular moon period. Whenever this flower comes up, Madeline, I think you're going to know what it is.
Purple one.
Yes. It is telling us it is time for deep transformation. We've got the black bat flower. So this one, I just feel like, and as you were sharing about Taurus, I was just feeling these tingles all over. I have a Taurus moon, but it felt more related to what people will be experiencing who have a strong Taurus placement in their chart. This is a profound period of time. You've got these karmic points that are being hit. I mean, you were talking about the 4th, the 7th, the 10th. You know, these are like the aspects of our lives that tend to hit us the hardest: relationships, career, and our home. So you're going to feel this. Now, it's okay though, because we have the black bat flower that is allowing us to have that confidence and fearlessness to face whatever it is that comes up. It awakens these parts of us that maybe we have purposefully left dormant and asleep. It gives us power to propel ourselves forward. It allows you, and for those who are listening who have Taurus in your chart, just see what comes up when I say these next words. Where in your life are you going with the flow too much? Where do you need to speak your mind? Whatever popped into your head, whatever thought, idea, person, situation came up, be aware of that going forward into this moon cycle, because that will likely be a place of discovery and a place of expansion for you, albeit uncomfortable. But the black bat flower for Taurus fearlessness, moving forward, courage. Those are the key words that I'd like for you to hold on to.
Yeah, I was funny. I was thinking it was going to be toughest for Scorpio, but maybe it's toughest for Taurus.
I feel like both of them, both of them will be tough. And I mean, they're
Yeah.
opposing signs. So there's that connection. The sun's there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Here's the thing, that's interesting because you can do all, like we've talked about this. Like I love all these spiritual healing techniques. They're fabulous and I highly recommend them all, especially now when you locate that deep wounding or that deep issue, because these things show up on these full moons no matter how much work you've done.
Yeah.
But you're going to want to be grateful for that because then it's out of you. You can move on and leave that in the past, bury it in the dirt. I the
So go ahead.
full the Scorpio energy is the decay. It's the what do you call compost?
Mhm.
The dirt. It's hidden. It's the hidden nutrients that feed all these beautiful plants.
I love that you brought up about I got distracted looking at the flowers and the plants and the bees and the butterfly in your background. Okay, let me see if I can get the thought back again. Now, I love that you brought up that no matter how much work you've done, when some of these transits occur, you feel them
Yeah.
and they're there. I mean, this is the work that I do, stems from the work that I've done and the work that I do with clients. And I can tell everyone who's watching right now, I am feeling this already. And
Mm-hmm.
it is challenging.
Dense.
And
Yeah.
and I have a lot of tools and I have a lot of experiences and I have all those things. Not to say that I know everything and I've done it all, because I certainly have
Right.
not even
Right.
close. But you can't really ever be done. But
Right.
it definitely helps if you have some modalities or some mentors or coaches or people that you can lean on to help you see what you might be missing, see what is hidden. I have a mentor myself that I connect with periodically that can really help me see those shadowy spots that I'm aware are there, but I really just prefer not to go there.
Mhm.
And, sometimes we need people to hold us accountable. We need people to hold the space for us to witness us in whatever we're
Yeah.
going through. So
Yeah. Usually there's pain body, and that doesn't show until it's triggered. So,
yeah,
but that's what these lunations do, is they heal that in us, and then we become more powerful, more empowered.
exactly. Exactly. All right, Gemini, don't forget the card.
Gemini. I'm going to take my time with this so that it actually shows up. Okay, Gemini. Gemini. Okay, so we've got Scorpio in your sixth house, which is the, shall we say, revelation or hidden, because remember, things are being revealed on this full moon, of a health problem, a health issue, or you reveal you got to quit drinking. You got it. Something reveals that you're doing on a day to day that isn't good for you, that is needing to change. It could be that you're just sitting at home watching TV and you're just escaping and you're not really dealing with something. But this full moon is going to force you to, unfortunately, in some way, perhaps make you, for instance, let's say you're not working. Well, now you got to work, that kind of a vibe. But then you're going to discover that you're way happier. Um, so, because it is a sixth house, it is a work house, it is a being of service. So let's just use an alcoholic, for example. They bottom out, they have to quit alcohol, and then they step into being of service to other alcoholics. Or you discover that you're going to make a good, because Scorpio is very good psychological counselors, addiction counselors. Also, it's the house of pets. Something sad could happen to your pet. Your pet could die, or a pet could happen to a pet. Or somebody leaves you a pet. You suddenly are landed with a pet. I've had people, my father got left my son's cat when he had to travel on a Scorpio, I mean, on a full moon in the 6th. So, but this is going to be more of a healing trauma based. I would say a health scare. You could have just scare issues in your about health that you just get triggered and you're just scared and you realize it's hypochondriac or you're just you don't need to be scared about it. You just need to be proactive about it. But something reveals now let's look at the Mercury, something, and plus you're ruled by Mercury. So we want to look at that Mercury transit. So that Mercury squaring Pluto in your 12th is a triggering energy. Yes, that would be past life trigger issues coming up that trigger you about Pluto's in your 9th house. So you're going through a lot of transformation around your beliefs. Something you could, some kind of a triggering shows up where you have to go internal and look at yourself around your beliefs, around what you think. You've kind of got to change something about yourself and you're kind of realizing it. And there's some sort of information that shows you that what you believe is really off or wrong and that you kind of are causing some of your own troubles and that there's something about you that you want to change or need to change because it's in your 9th and your 12th. So that 12th house would be kind of a painful realization about an aspect of yourself that you don't like, that you need to change. There's some sort of growth. There's definitely some sort of growth around who you are, shifting your beliefs and your perceptions to sort of change who you are. Some kind of a frustration or upset shows up in your 6th house that changes your belief and that makes you see that there's something about you that you need to change. Information comes in that either hurts you, but then you do some reflection on it with that Pluto in retrograde. And then you realize it could be that you realize it's triggering you to take an addiction or be addicted, and that it's sourced in some sort of belief that perpetuates the addiction. So in other words, there's some sort of belief that what you're doing is okay. You hear bad news that's upsetting you that triggers some sort of spiritual deficit in you that you become aware of that makes you realize you have to change. You have to make a big change in your life. Like you have to change a habit, something that you do all the time. And the nodes, of course, so you got to let something go, that south node, like quitting something. South node in your, where's that south node? In your 4th house. Something, maybe you have to move, you have to change something that you do that could, if it's 4th house, it could be a lineage, it could be a family thing. Like let's say there's a diet your family's always eaten, you discover you have too much fat in your arteries, you have to quit a family diet or a way that you've been eating. So yeah, that's kind of, but let's get to the good news. The good news would be Mars. I forgot about that part. Mars in your 3rd house, which is a communication house, which then, and Venus making that trine to your 11th house, which then motivates you to really kind of communicate or reach out to some sort of group friends or connect with a lover relationship. That's a romantic Mars trining Venus that heals a relationship. So there's some sort of, as a result of this introspection, you see something about yourself, which then enables you to heal a relationship or a tribe group.
All right. Well,
Making sense.
we have
Like it's all over the place.
it felt like there's a lot happening for Gemini, which kind of makes sense because of Gemini energy in general.
Mercury.
There's a lot happening there. But for Geminis, they've got the pink primrose as their flower support. This is preparedness for rapid growth and expansion. So I don't know if you touched in on Jupiter for them, but that feels like a very much a part of the story.
Yes.
At least from the
Jupiter's in
flower
their 1st
perspective.
house. Jupiter's in their 1st house, so it is
Okay.
important. Yes,
Yeah.
good for bringing that up. Yes.
So the pink primrose,
Chiron.
this is time. It
It's
is
all
time.
around communication. It's all around communication for Gemini.
Okay. So this is a flower that's telling them there's a sense they're being called into some sort of action, some sort of outside the box thinking, maybe outside the box communication. And this flower will bring in a feeling of making it effortless. So it doesn't have to be a big slog. it can be effortless. And I think that it will be effortless if you somewhat get out of the way. Uh, don't let your thoughts get carried away. Don't let your mouth get carried away. Really
And
be,
your think at what you your internal dialogue, you're in some sort of, yeah.
yeah. So all those things I think
Yeah.
are part of this. And then also there's a little bit of innovation that can be had. So we have a little bit of the Uranian energy at play here as well. So pink primrose for Gemini, I feel like it's going to be that this flower will be really helpful for them. There's a softness to this where things might feel a little crunchy. That's what I'm
Jupiter
seeing.
is in their first house, sextiling Mercury, sextiling Chiron. So whatever communication comes in, there's massive healing around.
Hmm.
And Jupiter in your first house is your body too. So there could be information about your health that makes you go into some sort of rapid growth around healing your body too. So,
Just some awareness
yep.
for those Geminis out there. All right,
That's
Cancer.
what I wanted to say about this full moon is astrology helps us be aware and accept and then to be higher conscious about what's going on.
Mm.
Higher minded. Hermes, Mercury is about higher mind. Okay, so Cancer coming in, Cancer, rising, sun, moon. This is going to be in your eighth, well, Pluto's in your eighth and Scorpio is in your fifth house. So there would most likely be a relationship or friendship that you're releasing or that relationship could transform into a romantic relationship, a relationship, a friendship, then it goes through transformation, or a friendship is no longer, you reveal the nature that it's superficial. Let's say you're dating someone and then on this full moon you rediscover it's a very superficial connection, there's no depth to it. Or there's a friendship that you're releasing friendships, Scorpio friendship perhaps, or a friends group, some sort of friend is no longer, maybe you see that they're not really a friend. But then also there was a new moon November 1 where November 1st in 2024, where you may have made a new connection with a friendship, which then shows up here, which shows up more into a venture, on entrepreneurial venture, a co-collaborative. So let's get that Mercury placement in here. Where does Mercury go? Mercury is in your 11th house, squaring Pluto in your eighth. So you could get some triggering news information from anywhere really, but with Pluto in your eighth, it could trigger you about resources, financing, your taxes. So there is some sort of harsh news and but um, there's that Mars in your second house, which trines Venus in your 10th. So that's really great. That's a relationship perhaps coming in, a new relationship, friendship, or like a sexual, passionate connection there happening through work house. You could meet somebody with Venus in your 10th that's a work related relationship, or you get involved in a co-collaborative creative project, which which is an exciting thing that's starting. So it could be a result of that new moon I met some people around that new moon in November that asked me to maybe write some courses and teach a little bit. So that could show up for Cancer rising in this full moon. But with a Mercury in the 11th, there might be some gossip or some information, or you hear around friends, groups, or tribe that's triggering and upsetting. And that makes you maybe not want to be friends with a certain person because you've got the Mercury in your 11th. So you could hear some challenging information that makes you not necessarily like somebody, or that makes you want to end that friendship. But again, it could just be triggering your issues. It could just be information from people that you hear, or something happens out in the world amongst maybe on the internet, somebody leaves a comment that triggers you. But whatever triggers you, that's that information that comes in that's triggering or scaring is where you're going to be doing some work, because that's that Pluto retrograde. So you're going to go deep doing some transformative work around that. And then like I say, I think this is a very quick transformative full moon where I just think you get over the issue super fast. So you just kind of let it fall off your back and you just kind of focus more on the Mars, the exciting things that are happening, because this full moon is ruled by Mars too. So Mars being in Leo, trining Venus, I mean, there's something really great happening at the same time. It's kind of like something tough happening and something really great happening. But the tough thing, the tough thing might be a shut door, that you're closing a door, and then the Jupiter sextile to Chiron giving you you know, um, a lot of confidence and able to a very healed, you're communicating or interacting with somebody on a much more healed level, so you almost have a healed response to whatever happens. That's what these Scorpio full moons come in and test you. How is your response? Are you lashing out? Are you attacking? Or do you go inward, see what you need to shift and change and what you need to let go of and release? So for Cancer, basically a full moon, a new relationship comes in, the right person, you see who your true person are, who your true friends are, you release the ones that aren't, and then you get involved in some sort of creative, financial, collaborative, cooperative thing with your divine mate or a partner, fated partner, career, um, project. And Mars rules your your 10th house. So this full moon also, so it's going to impact your career and give you some sort of good, lucrative result there. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. So the bird's foot lotus is the flower for Cancer. And the bird's foot lotus will support getting to any root causes of worry, which I feel like is very reminiscent of that Scorpio going into the shadow places, the secrets, the hidden, being able to see where this worry is coming from and how to shift that into expecting the best. Taking charge in your life in a way and allowing there to be more ease to flow to you. As far as the body is concerned, it also has a connection to a very relaxed belly. So if you think about when you're in a state of worry or concern, you clench. We all clench, like we kind of like stiffen up. This is finding a place of just relaxing. And that could be through breath. That could be through like just literally rubbing your belly, coming back into your body more instead of, you know, Cancerians, it's a very mothering sort of, you're ruled by the moon. So there's a feeling of really wanting everyone to be taken care of, and sometimes forget to take care of yourself. So it's a reminder too, to be really aware of how you're showing up for you. And yeah, this is also a very cheerful, easeful flower. So how can you bring that into your life as well? Bird's foot lotus.
I forget to add fifth house full moons they do bring fun and joy.
Oh, true. Yeah, because it's a Leo. Yeah, it is. So yeah,
So I don't
I
know why
kind of,
that color brings that playful energy of fun.
and
That
it
kind
just seems like a sweet flower,
of,
just
is that
even
just
though,
one flower?
yeah, I think so. With just a few blooms.
Because it could be friends,
Yeah,
free
sweet.
time, fun time, party time.
All right, Leo.
Leo, talk about fun and party time.
That's right.
I love these elect they're electrolytes, gels,
Oh,
gummy. Yeah.
gummies, just to give you a little more electrical power.
We need more salt in our bodies. I discovered that.
It's true.
All right, Leo, you guys have Scorpio of your fourth. So moving, full moon over your fourth house is you reveal triggered traumas related to your mother, or you discover your mother's sick or something's up with your mother, or you get into a fight, conflict with your family, mother, or it just reveals some sort of toxic patterns in your family. Family toxic patterning can show up. Or you discover you live in a house that has mold. has root problems, has foundation problems. You have to move. Hidden things reveal. Maybe you discover your mother was sexually abused. I don't know where I'm going there, but I mean, that's, Scorpio. It's like crimes, things that have been hidden. It could reveal that your house, you have a debt connected to your house, or it could be a tax. You suddenly get a big tax bill for your house. Or you literally discover plumbing problems. That would literally be plumbing problems. Or you discover that you want to leave where you live, or um, you could suddenly decide to transform your house. Like you suddenly decide you want to just completely do something completely different with it and change it and move the kitchen into the bathroom, like totally flip it around. Something like you want to transform your home living situation.
That would
Uh,
be a big change.
yeah. But the trigger part, let's see let's look at that, where Mercury is going to be in your 10th and then Pluto in your 7th. So there could be a fire up around your relationships, because Leo are going to have their Pluto in their 7th house for, 18 years. So they're going to be totally different people in their relationships. It's going to change them. Um, so and Pluto in Aquarius is not as bad as Pluto in, I had Pluto in my 7th house in Capricorn. That's a whole different vibe.
Boy.
Pluto in Aquarius is lighter. And so, but there could still be an upset there. There could be a big disagreement about money and work with a relationship. Could be a big disagreement about marriage, getting committed, like, do you want to get married or not married or something, or move in together. There could be some sort of conflict around the relationship, around an issue in the relationship where there's a deep buried issue that needs to come up and be sorted out. It can either end the relationship or make it. If you're in the right relationship, it will make it. But then perhaps it evolves to either living together if you're not, or moving. Like, let's say there's a problem in your relationships and you discover that you're just not happy where you live, so you decide to move and then you'll be happier. The relationship will work. Or you decide, but again, without there could be problems, hidden things come to light about your relationship, and they cause a problem. But also, with the moon being in your 4th house, with that Mars now in your 1st, trining Venus, there's going to be a big shift in this situation. That's what this full moon is going to be, a big shifting energy where you then harmonize around something. So there's going to be a problem in your relationship. It either ends it if you're not in the right relationship and you move out. That could be the thing in the Scorpio in your 4th, you move out, or you get over an issue in your relationship around communication, and it has a big breakthrough, transforms your relationship, and then we have this big harmony between Venus and Mars in your 9th and your 1st, and you find some sort of you agree on something. You find that you actually really do agree on, you find how you can agree on something, and then you collaborate, you join your beliefs, you have this harmonic, you could go travel together, honeymoony vibe. Or you discover your new person, or you already know them and you're ending a relationship and you're kind of blending into the next relationship. That could be happening. And then with Mars in your 1st house in Leo, you're fired up for energy in the bedroom, sassy energies. So, it's kind of like this for Leo. It's kind of like hot and passionate and then fighting at the same time, and hot and passionate and then
Interesting.
like, you drive me crazy when you do this, but I still love you and I still want to do this. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, you always do this. Okay, I won't do it anymore. Okay, let's have sex. I mean, that's sort of like something
So
like that.
Madeline's theatrical history is coming out.
Because I grew up all over the world. I lived in a lot of countries. I didn't speak the language, and we had to act. I remember going to buy milk. My mother sent me, so we pretended we were milking a cow like this. I didn't know the word for milk. So So when I can't think of the
Cute.
words, I gotta act it out.
That's great. I love that. Another reason why I love you, Madeline.
Oh, thanks, Molly.
Yeah. Okay, so we have the Icelandic lichen for, and I'm trying to do this so you people can actually see there's a lot of activity with this flower. And this is a flower that grows close to the ground.
Mm,
So this feels to me like a very much an opportunity for, I don't know where to put it so people can see it better, for a grounded kind of energy. It's important to have that. It's like almost like we're rooting our energy to the earth. And I think you used similar language earlier, Madeline. There might be a feeling too with this, like be aware of times you experience like a lack of follow through where you would like to do something but you don't actually follow through on it. That could be an ancestral wound that comes up for you to
hmm.
see. um,
Yeah.
an opportunity for empowered communication. So how are
Oh.
you communicating? What are you communicating? How is that moving you forward in some way in your relationships? Maybe with your family that has a direct connection to perhaps your career. And then the other part of this that I feel like is really important to mention is that by strengthening yourself, like your own inner world, your own inner resolve, that strengthens others. I think I liken that to when I am healing some aspect of myself, I'm also healing my children and my parents and my grandparents and my ancestors. And so it's this lineage type energy that again is very grounded to the earth. And you can see here with this, this to me, it's hard to tell, but there's like a lot of blossoms here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the across space and time kind of flower, and it grows all along the earth in very in a very
Like a ground
tangible,
cover.
yes, tangible way. So the Icelandic lichen for Leo, really supportive. You could even imagine this at times if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, as like a little blanket, like a blanket made of this and wraps around you. That might be comforting in times of challenge. So
That card, are you ready for me to chat?
yeah, go.
Well, that card really reminds me that this full moon is a moksha liberation, spiritual liberation full moon, which means you have spiritual growth out of it. You become more enlightened, you become spiritual, you become more in the light as a result. It's a
Mm.
it's a moksha house, which means you become liberated as a result. So whatever ends, if you end a relationship, you feel liberated. If you're in the fourth house, by the way, for Leos, there's definitely mother issues there. Definitely mother.
Mhm.
I have a Leo son, and he has I try not to have issues with him, but for some reason we just can't seem to figure some things out. This full moon could help us figure some things out.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yes, it would be
I'm
nice.
I'm holding that vision.
Thank you.
All right, Virgo.
Virgo,
And with those Virgos.
Virgo, Virgo, Virgo. Um, Zoom really should give us the numbers of where we are on the recording, like the minutes, so that I could like write down. But anyway, they don't. So, all right. So Virgo, let's get Virgo on this chart here. So Scorpio is in your third house. So wow, that's all going to be about talking about communication. We've got Mercury in your ninth, squaring Pluto in your sixth. Perhaps conflicts, so conflicts, disagreements, shifts in beliefs, some sort of a perhaps some information comes in, or you discover something in your life that's hidden about your health or your day-to-day or your beliefs about yourself that is triggering and upsetting, shifted some sort of conflict in beliefs between somebody that's close to you, or some kind of a conflict occurs that stresses you out. But that this full moon, and it's in your third house. I forget there's such a connection between communication and this full moon. It's very interesting. So for Virgo in your third house, you are learning a communication lesson. Some sort of information triggers you, communication surprises you, shocks you. You're really shocked. Third house, could be a conflict and an argument with someone, but then you could be with a sibling. You get into you may learn a truth about what somebody thinks about you. You may learn a truth about your sibling. Um, you may learn a truth about a neighbor or something, and there may be some sort of conflict in neighbors or somebody near you. It flares up, but then you hear information that stresses you out, but it shifts your belief system too, because it's squaring that Mercury, and Mercury is your ruling planet, and it's in the ninth house. So you're going to have some sort of change of mind around this, a big change of mind. But then with that Mars in your 12th sextile, trining your Venus in your 8th, that's travel or transformative shifts. So something goes on here in the Virgo life where they have a belief system shift, some sort of toxicity, toxic belief system or internal dialogue, some sort of toxic communicating patterns flare up as a problem, which then transforms them to learning that they want to be better, or they want to, because with that Venus, so that then that Mars, then that shifts them into wanting to believe or to learn or to shift their belief, or traveling makes them open up their mind. Something about the Virgo that they're not seeing about themselves that's causing problems in their lives around communication is going to have a breakthrough, which then they can heal a relationship. But it doesn't have to be the same relationship. It can be that they discover something about themselves with that Pluto retrograde in the 6th that causes them to have problems in relationships. So then they're learning, and it's about communication. So they're learning about attachment to people around them and their communication styles as being a source of problem, which they then have to transform and grow beyond and shift their belief around. Does that make sense? I feel like I had the hardest time with Gemini and Virgo because they're Mercury ruled, and Mercury's doing something weird with Pluto. So it's like they're both those sides are learning how to be more authentic and communicate truly and stop manipulating.
Well, the grevillea, the flower, is
Mm-hmm.
pretty much spot on what you were saying. You before
Mm-hmm.
you even got to seeing that it was in the third house. This
Yeah.
card had popped out, and the message is fearless speech and
Ah,
speak your mind. Very
there you go. Yeah.
communication related. So I feel like everything that you were saying that connects to that is very much in tune and in alignment with the flower energy as well. It's also the ability to deliver a clear message from a place where you're authentic in your interactions. So,
Right.
um, Virgos, I don't, and they're not quite like Gemini as far as like they can change their mind quickly, or be like, or Libras that can be chameleon like at times to keep the peace, but they also are this like goddessy earth energy where they don't really want to rock the boat either. So there's that part of it too that I think factors into this. And then it also, this grevillea also gives Virgos um an energy of being able to express their thoughts and their feelings with others in a way that um enhances the relationship. It's not something that would maybe hinder.
Structs. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the other thing too is if you look at this, there's a lot happening with this flower. There's all these like little like tendrily looking things here as well. I kind of liken it to lines of communication,
Yes.
how you're communicating and connecting with other people. So, for this, I would maybe think of it whenever you're in interactions with other people. If you bring this flower to mind, like an expander or enhancer to whatever you're saying. It's just like, it's just kind of amplifying it to a way that somebody can hear it or receive it. That's what I was looking for. Receive it in a way that you intended. So
Yeah, it almost
great.
seems like Virgo and Gemini or whatever, the Mercury ones, they can communicate on a superficial level very well, like happy, chatty, all this. But then they get, if they have more complex emotional issues involved in their relationships, I almost don't think they know how to deal with that or
Uh-huh.
communicate on that level. So this full moon is going to teach them how to dig deeper and communicate more authentic and more truths and come up and speak stuff that's undercurrent in these relationships that's causing upset, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like that's where the discomfort comes in is
Yes, to actually talk about that stuff.
yeah. Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Libra.
You put the purple card back in because I'd be curious if it comes up for Scorpio. It's
Oh no, wait, it's like it's already to the side.
already out.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, Scorpio, the hardest for, I think, because in fact, I have a friend that's Scorpio and she's been texting me going, oh my God, I'm going through so much. And she's really reflecting Scorpio. Pluto retrograde is causing Scorpios to really go deep. And she's really in it. Like, I can't believe all this stuff I was thinking and la, la, la.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're not to Scorpio yet. We're at Libra.
did I skip? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And you know what? We didn't even pull a card, did we? Oh my gosh. Thank you. I can't believe I did that. Okay, I
You're welcome.
rushed. Libra, Libra, Libra. Okay. So Libra for Scorpio is your second house, right? So
Yeah.
that's triggering you around money. And you got the sun in the eighth. So you're going to have some sort of fear of feeling financially stable, or you're going to discover that you don't value yourself. Sometimes those full moons in the second house are really painful because you get rejected, or let's say you applied for a job and you didn't get it. You get these really low self-esteem feelings. You don't feel value. So then you start to transform and you start to see that you're just reflecting low sense value, low self-value. You don't see your worth, but this full moon will just reveal where it is you aren't feeling your true value, what you're really worth. You're not seeing it. This full moon may reveal that a talent, what you're really worth. You suddenly really say, wow, I am really good at this. You know, I should really claim it. And then we've got this Mercury square in your eighth house. Again, they're in the fifth house. Wow. So you are going to get triggered around money and joint resources. If you're married, your spouse could suddenly say, we've got a debt, or I got to pay this back, or a friend. Also, this is your fifth house. You could feel communication that triggers you from a friend, or there could be a friend ending a friendship or relationship, or a disappointment, or a friend, or a truth comes out. But fears, ultimately, this impacts your sense of value, your worth, and sharing resources. And so a hidden cost could show up that kind of freaks you out. But then we've got the moon does make a nice trine to Saturn. Well, that's as the moon transits, but let's really look at that Mars in your 11th trining your Venus. But there is some really nice sort of opening up with a new relationship, or if you are already in one, the relationship has some sort of honeymoon pink phase where the relationship really solves this problem. You join there's some sort of a solution around this problem. If you're not in a relationship, you could start one there. You're really serious, long-term committed, because you're about to have Saturn in your seventh house. So it could be that you're ending some sort of divorce, joint resource, financial obligation, or like you're at the end of having to pay somebody some sort of payment from an annulment or something. You paying taxes off on something, and now it's over with, and now you're free, and now you can really enjoy a new relationship, a new beginning with your current relationship. But basically there's a hump and a scary triggering around your finances, or around getting divorced, or around some sort of, because it's going to your fifth, Pluto in your fifth, some sort of way you've given your power away in friends. You've given your power away to friendships and friends, which impacts your low level of self-worth, or something that impacts your money in your eighth house. So It can just be psychological fears, you know, triggering some deep psychological fears of being abandoned and you know, rejected, you know. But basically, there's a transformation occurring in your financial house. So whatever gets shown up in this triggering and these fears also reveals a brand new beginning or a way to make income that makes you realize that you're okay and that the universe has got your back, and you have this no sort of restored, wow, I can just sort of land on my feet. I'm okay. But there does seem to be some sort of a crisis and an upset that occurs around the same time. Again, if you have no planets there, you feel it very mildly, but information around a friend, secrets, hidden secrets around friends that make you not want those friends anymore. That's a biggie. Or you discover someone who's a friend, you end the friendship status and you turn them into your romantic partnership. But there's a definite shift and change around friendships here, and involving, which then you align up, you have better, you're making friends with people that don't value you. Then you then raise your value in those friendships, and then something, you become more higher frequency energetically within, and you start to attract new income, new beginnings, and you resonating at a higher frequency. So your income is increasing, improving.
So with all of those pieces of the puzzle for them, we have the red bird of paradise, which is if a flower of focus, a flower of like, let's get it done, a flower of, okay, what have I been putting off? What projects or what tasks have I not taken care of? Now is the time to take care of them. And those might be the very things that lead to the ending of a relationship of some kind, or the ending of, not the ending of a relationship, the end of, and sorry, I lost my thought for a sec. It's not the end, it's the start of something. So you finally finish this project, you complete the project, and that opens up a way of making money, which is what I was trying to say. It was all getting jumbled in my brain. And then you have a sense of motivation to get the things done. You're filled with passion and drive. And I feel like that is very much that Mars and yeah, just like really like, let's just go. It's time to get moving. And what I also find interesting is that we've got these two flowers back to back, the Virgo and the Libra flowers, that have a similar sort of energy. They're actually kind of leaning in towards each other. So this feels to me like there's somebody that's watching this that might be a Virgo Libra combination in a relationship, where leaning in towards one another is the ideal pathway to take. So for anyone who's watching, this is for you.
Virgo goes to Leo. No, wait, Leo goes to Virgo, which means lust goes to Virgin. So let's just say when we have the transformation from Leo to Virgo, we go from lust to purity. So, but with that Leo Mars in your 11th house, you're meeting new friends, you're passionate, starting a passionate relationship with somebody over the internet, or a passion project, creative passion project that brings you money. Yep, in your second house, new way.
Yeah.
Creative entrepreneurial ventural project with your true divine mate, your person. Now
into each other. All right, now Scorpio. Lay it on us, Madeline.
So Scorpio, I think, is going to be tough. You guys had that. I was talking about that Pluto retrograde. Mars rules you, Pluto rules you. Mars is in fiery Leo, trining the what's it trining again? Venus. Very positive for you in that angle. But the tough part, let's do the tough part first. The tough part is Mercury in your seventh house, squaring sudden surprising information, but it doesn't have to be negative. My friend that Scorpio, she heard some very surprising information that actually ended up being very it was surprising and shocking, and it triggered her, but there was kind of good news in it too, which was basically that somebody that she loves is available. But anyway, there was challenging stuff in that, but it was good news, that like there was good news in it. So but again, this could also be secrets coming out about relationships because that Mercury's in your 7th house in the sign of Taurus and that Pluto. So you suddenly find out something secret in your relationship. Or it could be communication issues showing up, that you have some mother issues, some wounding to do, because you're going to do that introspection with Pluto in retrograde in your 4th house. You're really looking at something in yourself that causes these conflicts in your relationships, or causes you to communicate in a way, in a defensive or reactive way. That Mercury squaring Pluto is a reactive, non-thinking. It's just a reactive communication. And then with your ruling planet is trining Venus. So there's a really nice romantic liaison energy healing between you and a relationship coming forward. So it's almost like, again, if you're in the wrong relationship, this could absolutely end the relationship. You discover they're cheating on you and you end it, or you discover this person is turning both of you needed transformation to become the people that you needed to be to make this relationship be the relationship that it's intended to be and that it can work. You just both needed communication, because Scorpio have communication issues with Capricorn over their 3rd. So through communication, they may have a breakthrough in the relationship, and it goes to the next level. And then it trines your work houses. So then you take on a co-collaborative passion creative project with your person. And then that Jupiter in your 8th sextiling your Chiron, there's a lot of healing there around forgiveness, around having taken something too personally, but letting it now go, like being okay, like forgiving. This is a very healing. It's involving that 6th house, 8th house. I mean, you're looking at really becoming a new person. Scorpio, I mean, that's really interesting, actually. So Scorpios are they're gonna reveal a part of themselves that's now transformed through some sort of conflict that's going to happen in a relationship. Could be around money with that 8th house, or sexuality. But the result is the Scorpio wakes up. They have a wake up to the full empowered, that they become more empowered. So they realize that they are unempowering themselves, and they now empower themselves. So let's give an example. You're in your true relationship, but your person looks down at what you do, or doesn't agree with what you do, or doesn't believe in what you do. Let's use that as an example. And then all of a sudden, you step into more empowerment about it. You discover something. You discover the secret of this powerful information about the hidden world, the occult, which is Scorpio, which is absolutely the way all of this works. It's all done through astrology, through the science. It's an actual science, a sacred science. You step so into the truth of it that you convince everybody around you. They wake up. I was doing a reading for this one woman, right? And her husband, I have her, and her husband literally pops in behind and goes, "I don't believe in any of this. I'm a skeptic." I'm like, I just went, "That's okay. I would change your mind. I know I would." But anyway, so Scorpios are coming into their, you know what? This is who I am. Love me or leave me. But most likely love you, they'll stay. But your person is in your right relationship, then yes, and you're not in the right relationship, you will probably leave. But some sort of, the secret is about you. You discover a hidden quality within you that you then, or that you've always known about you, but you haven't really embraced and shown the world, or been too afraid to step out and be who you are in some way. This is at 22 degrees. The degree point of 22 degrees, whenever you're in the last decan, you're at the end of the journey. You're at the end of the journey of being Scorpio. So you're seeing that you don't have to give your power away to the emotional trauma and drama. Scorpios are here to learn how to master the inner world. Keep it mellow. We all are, but Scorpio just have deeper internal stuff going on.
Yeah.
They're complex. That's why they need more than the other signs, they need divination tools, tarot, all that kind of stuff, because it stabilizes them.
I think it's really fascinating that this is the flower that came out for
Interesting.
Scorpio. The reason I find it interesting is twofold. One, it is so bright and
Purple.
cheerful almost. Um, However, it's on a cactus. So
Interesting.
you've got this bright flower. It's called the pink prickly pear cactus flower, that is surrounded by thorns. It's surrounded by danger. It's surrounded by something that could potentially harm you. And I feel like that's very scorpionic. You know, if you think about the scorpion as the archetype for Scorpio, you know, they have that stinger. It's similar to a thorn in a cactus.
Right.
And this the pink prickly pear cactus invites us to enjoy and appreciate the beauty in our environment, in our circumstance, in our situation, even if it's not so beautiful. So, you know, think about this flower on this cactus. And then to dig beyond what's seemingly apparent. So digging deep into the underworld and excavating that. And during this time, finding those profound meanings and insights that just seemingly drop in out of nowhere. That just like,
Right.
poof, understanding. And then really activating a sense of wonder and curiosity and adventure in their lives. I'm a Scorpio, so in my life as well, you know, it almost feels to me like shining more brightly, not being afraid to come out into the light, not being afraid of the thorns of life, as part of that as well. And this flower also somewhat reminds me of a flamenco dancer. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. So, you know, women in Portugal, for instance, they have these often wear these black dresses with the embroidery
Right.
on it, and they have flowers in their hair, and they spin around and they dance, and they're so in tune with themselves in that moment. And I feel like that is what Scorpios are being invited and called to do right now. So
I
anyway,
really think, yeah, well, I just think when I said that the Scorpios are going to see who they are, and they're going to remember I said, if
yeah,
you're going to be who you are, that really lines up. That chart, that flower was perfect.
it really is. Yeah. Okay. I love it. So Sagittarius.
Ruled by Jupiter. I seek. I always forget. Scorpio is I desire.
Uh-huh.
Libra is I share. Anyway, I forget to do that part. Sagittarius, I seek. So let's go ahead and look at Sagittarius. Where does Scorpio hit your chart? Probably the third, I think. Oh no, we'll see. Sagittarius, no, sorry, Scorpio is in your 11th.
12,
Sorry, your
isn't it?
12th. What am I
Yeah.
thinking? Of course, the 12th. Wow. So I think this is going to be pretty impactful for Sagittarius to have the Scorpio full moon in your night in your 12th house. So what happens? It's interesting because I'm Sagittarius, and I absolutely know I want to travel next year. Like 12th house, I've just had this reveal that I've complete clarity that I'm going to do 3 months in Italy, hopefully every year. Like Italy is my passion. I love it.
Ooh.
I know. I mean, maybe go to Spain too and south of France, but I'm going to try to do Europe 3 months to 4 months out of the year, right? So that's kind of like a revelation of a desire, something you really desire to do, right? So in that 12th house, that's my dream. So that's one way of looking at it, of that full moon, but also a karmic pattern is ending. So what else is going on? It goes, if you look at the rest of your chart, the full moon could be hitting in your 5th house. So then you realize you don't, if you're like Cancer, then you could be Cancer Sagittarius. You might discover friendship you don't want anymore, or there's some kind of a dynamic in a friendship you don't want to be a part of anymore because it's a routine sort of deal that's going on in your 12th house. It's past life drama that you're playing out with friends. If it's in your 7th house, you have the other planet aspecting your chart. If you're Taurus as well, then you're going to be going through a karmic understanding of a patterning that you have in relationships that you're going to either end or stop your patterning of. But basically, with a full moon Scorpio, you're going to reveal some deep, hidden past life recesses, issues that you feel empowered around now and you don't do anymore. You just won't do it anymore. Like, for instance, here, let's think of an example. Musician, Sagittarius gets around a bunch of drug people. They say, hey, take some drugs. You go, I don't want this. I'm never doing that. I'm trying to think of an example. Yeah, I'm not doing hardcore drugs, you know.
That is hilarious. I mean, not
I'm
hilarious, but
thinking of my musician son going,
yeah.
getting involved in these groups and stuff like that. But anyway, um, so basically there's some sort of big pattern that you're revealing that you just have power over now. It's a powerful one. You just feel better. You just don't do it anymore. I'm not going to get tempted by that anymore. I'm not going to go around that. And it reveals your strength. You're revealing a power and strength around some issue that triggers you. So let's go look at that. Let's go look at the trigger. That Mercury, that Mercury Taurus is going to be in your sixth house, Mercury and Pluto in your third. So yeah, there could be some information, knowledge, or communication around people that are near you in your day-to-day life that trigger, upset you, information, power struggle around some kind of a acquaintance, sibling, a business. This is like a work relationship too, where there's going to be healing through communication. Perhaps a positive aspect would be that you heal through these communications. But also you're going to be learning to communicate better with Pluto there in your third house. And then Jupiter, your ruling planet, making a sextile to Chiron. It's possible that Sagittarians have some sort of a conflict, stressful situation. It's stress, conflict in communication over relationships that they then transfer and become healed and able to communicate around. They become healed communicators around. They transform into ability to communicate over a frustrating or stressful situation that they would normally not communicate over. But now they can communicate. They feel empowered to do that with Pluto in their third. They're going to be taking their power back through communication. Honest, straightforward, setting a boundary. Again, Mercury squares is setting big boundaries with people, or just ending connections, work relationships, or a job that isn't right, or quitting something, square to that. And then let's look at that Mars, passionate Mars in Leo in your ninth. Creative projects involving travel. And then with Venus would be in your sixth. Well, Venus is in your fifth. Oh, wow. So that would be a very, very harmonious time with your relationship. Friendship turns into a romantic marriage, committed partnership. You decide to have children, passionate sex, passionate travel, honeymoon period, co-collaborative romantic projects, passion projects with your romantic other half, or with friends. If you're a musician, you travel. That trines your Venus in your fifth. You meet you have really good band members, groups. You travel, good friends together. You travel on tour with a band. But that communication trigger stresses you out, but at the same time, you are having a lot of fun and great things going on, but it's almost like you have a communication breakthrough, and that communication breakthrough opens you up to, I would say, frees you, because it's in that Pluto energy in your third house. So communication opens up. It can be just flat out conflict and arguments with people. And then you end a situation, and it liberates you to move and leave and go get another job or travel, or basically you get your power back over a stressful situation, and you found your power, and then you have a really blessing with relationships and beliefs and travel. So in other words, there could be a conflict involving work that then you talk and you communicate through, which then you have a whole shift in perception around. But it's kind of an interesting full moon, isn't it?
It really is. And I have there's so many different angles, and I have yet another one.
Okay, go for it.
And it's similar to what you're talking about in some ways, but diverges in others. So a
Okay.
slightly different take. So we have the squash blossom.
Oh.
This flower reminds me so much of one of those old time record players. So, it's like you brought up
Mhm.
the music as an example, and
Gramophone.
yes, thank you. And and that's actually communicating music. It's a speaker for the music. So we
Mhm.
have that sort of energy when it comes to communication. Now, this flower actually has a lot to do with sexuality and sensuality, which is very scorpionic. It allows there to be a feeling of liberation and freedom in the body. Think about the sixth house where the sun is, the 12th house where the moon is. There is the opportunity for liberation, for completing something, for feeling that sense of wholeness or wellness. Is also an opportunity for birthing new ideas because it's connected to that sexual type of energy. And this also gives the Sagittarians an opportunity for unblocking any area where they have felt creatively blocked, where they can now use their imagination to enhance whatever projects that they're working on. That could be music, that could be art, whatever it might be. But the squash blossom is a really beautiful support for them. I could see them using this as it could also be like listening to whatever messages are coming in. Like imagine those like little things you put in your ear, you can like hear more clearly. You're open to those downloads of information and intuitive hits. So just kind of play with the flower and the energy of it for
Yeah,
moon
that
cycle.
really does point to that fifth house Venus, Mars trine Venus in the fifth, where like creative passion projects, relationships. I mean, that's a fun energy. Plus, Jupiter is sextiling. Um, what is Jupiter? Sextiling Chiron in the fifth. So
Mhm.
yeah, this is nice. There's a nice breakthrough here for
Yeah.
Sagittarius.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Some sort of
Exactly.
creative project opens up for them. All right, next is
Capricorn.
Capricorn. Capricorn rules the kneecap. Did you know that? Kneecap.
I did know it had to do with the needs, but I didn't put those two together. So thank you for
That's
that.
okay. Yeah, if you have a debilitated Saturn, you have problems with your knees. If you have a
Interesting.
debilitated Jupiter, you have problems with your thighs, your legs, your hips, lower
Oh,
back. So anyway,
nice.
Capricorn, let's take a look and see what's going on for you guys. You're going to have a Pluto. Well, the Scorpio is in your 10th house. That's right. Scorpio covers your 10th house. So you're going to have some big.
Are you sure? I think it's the 11th.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You could do 11th. Yep. Yep, you're right. 11th. Libra's over their 10th. Okay. Good. All right. So 11th house. Okay. Well, some hidden information comes out about groups of friends or people you affiliate with or on social media or network, that hidden truth comes out. I'm thinking that perhaps a relationship for Capricorn comes through over the internet. They discover who their true person is through some sort of internet, online, social media interaction if you're not in a relationship. Um, if you are, then some sort of hidden knowledge or information comes out about the social media network stuff that either makes you like it or not like it, but it's transformative. So wherever you are, some kind of information comes in from the public arena of the world that transforms you, that changes you, that makes you see something different. It's a surprise, it's a shock. Now, yeah, that's in the 11th. So then we're going to go to their 5th with Taurus there and the Uranian there. So yeah, it could come through friends group or acquaintances, people that you know, some surprising information. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be negative. It can be actually quite positive and liberating financially. You could get good news about a job or some sort of opportunity that comes in here with that 11th house through word of mouth. Your word of mouth, you become known or seen. A full moon in the 11th house can make you very publicly famous. You can become seen, known, get more recognition. But a negative would be you suddenly decide you don't want this social media platform anymore, and all of a sudden it's accidentally you post something and it gets deleted. That's what happened to me. I actually posted a Capricorn goat. That's why I use AI now, because you can't do content, what do you call it?
Copyrighted, like
Thank you.
copywritten. Yeah.
Yes, I posted a picture of a goat that I found online. I just thought it was a picture of a goat, and then they ended up saying it was a copyright. They literally took all my channels down. They didn't even, I would have taken the goat down. They didn't give me any chance. They just deleted all my programs over that one picture of a goat.
Wow.
Yep, I lost my Facebook, 2 Facebook pages, and 2 Instagram feeds.
That is crazy. I didn't realize that that's what did it.
Yep, just because I did online, I went, show me a goat. And I did a goat, and then I posted it on my Instagram, and I wrote a little article. But I just didn't occur to me that that it was copyright. Didn't even think about it.
Well, and
Anyway,
you would think that they would have given you like, hey, that's a copywritten
they did.
image,
They gave
or
me like a week warning. They said, we're giving you a flag, and I said, okay, I'll take it down. What was it? So I took it down on everything I could because I wasn't sure what it was. And then literally they said, we're giving you a week to fix this, to do something about that. And I said, I'm doing something, I'm doing it, I'm doing it. I kept contacting them, kept doing this, and they said, then the next thing I know, boom, they took it down.
wow.
I did everything they said. They wouldn't, I don't know who to talk to. It was that kind of a thing.
Yeah. You started fresh. That's
Yeah. So a full moon in your 11th house can do that. So, but anyway, or you find out a secret about somebody through internet, social media, you find something out and that it's upsetting. But now with that Mercury in your 5th house, so yeah, there's information coming in that reveals to you about a friendship that you end up ending that friendship, or you don't like that person anymore, or you find out a truth about a friend that they have feelings for you that triggers you, and then you decide that you both have feelings for each other. So, it's not necessarily a negative on this one for Capricorn for some reason, or they find out a truth about something on the internet that they discover there's a way they can make money because it squares their Pluto in their 2nd house, so it ends their fears about finances. Or they get triggered about information about finances, and then they say, well, we better get moving. I better get motivated with that Mars in your 8th. I better really work hard with my true love. We better do something financially together. We better get our act together and take on a project, a passion project. But then with that Venus in the 4th house, you could get money loan to fix up a property, which you might sell and make more money on. But basically, there's a creative passion project going from Mars to the 8th to the 4th. Yeah, so in the 8th house is joint resources. You pull your money together to go move into a house together, live together, buy a property together. But for Capricorn on the whole, there's a transformation occurring around their public, who they are in a public arena, in a public sphere. So they become very well known. It could trigger they could see that there's a group of friends that they don't want to be friends with anymore, or again, they could discover a romantic relationship in all of this too, with that Mars could turn into a physical situation. What do you got?
well, we have the pink
Oh,
primrose for
that looks like a
Capricorn.
relationship, doesn't it?
It really does, with these groups of 2 flowers. Uh, what I find fascinating is the Capricorns in my life, I'm noticing that this is very clearly a message for them.
Mhm.
And that has to do with forgetting to take care of yourself because you're so busy taking care of others. And these flowers kind of look like that. And that could be within relationships or friendships, even that to
Mhm.
tie it into that 11th house. And there is the potential for burnout or resentment when it comes to this work. So like really be aware of where you're not taking care of yourself. Where can you take some time to rest? Where can you actually go into, let's tie in Scorpio here, go into some of those places where you've just pushed whatever it was to the side and haven't dealt with it. And now it's time to actually deal with it, not keeping yourself busy, which is very Capricornian, so that you don't have to look at the shadow side. It also encourages us, the pink primrose encourages Capricorns to value your own needs and your own purpose, which may be at odds with your friends groups, that may be at odds with what maybe your boss is encouraging you to post certain things on social media, and it's not really what aligns with you, but you feel like you don't have a choice. It's like really noticing when that is happening. And then the other part of it that really jumps out at me for this too is when it comes to your relationships, regardless of what type that they are, that you have got to be aware of what you need, and then be able to speak to those needs in a way that feels really empowering and impactful for your purpose. And Capricorns usually know what their purpose is. So the pink
Yeah,
primrose.
I think that's Capricorns going onto joint ventures with their divine mate, going on taking some sort of public position out in the world with,
Mm-hmm.
with their person.
It's so pretty.
Where I'm headed on that one. Or a lot of Capricorns getting into relationships. I know a lot that are single, so could be the time now.
Very interesting. All right,
Yep.
Aquarius.
Aquarius, oh my gosh, you guys, you've got Pluto in your first house going retrograde. I know some Aquarius who've been going through kind of a pretty tough time.
Mm.
You're going to become very empowered, very strong, independent, incredible people by the end of this transit. But basically, Scorpio is in your 10th house, so a full moon in your 10th house. I know a few Aquarians that are at their sort of fears about money, because Venus has been with Saturn and has really kept things a bit financially tight for a lot of people, for everyone, because Venus is next to Saturn. So everyone's been feeling a bit tight. But Aquarius now are going to be relieved. They're going to feel like a job opportunity opens up, a work thing opens up, but also it could reveal the toxicity of a certain job they have that they don't want anymore. It could really reveal um, a toxic relationship with a boss there, or maybe you got in a relationship with a boss and now it's, I'm just kidding. You got to end the job. So yeah, you're going through a transformation in your career house. So you're leveling up, you're rising a level, you're becoming more, you're going to get an upgrade, a career boost. But there might be a fear around in the process. It's going to be one of those things where it's like, yay, phew. But I'm going to look at that Mercury in your fourth house squaring what's it squaring again? Pluto. So yeah, you've got some fears coming in around stability, financial stability, around being safe in the long term. You're probably there could be Aquarians where they just feel like, I don't know how I'm going to make money right now, like just completely not even sure. But with this full moon coming in, they're feeling really like they can see a stable new future, they can support themselves. And Jupiter is ruling your second, and Jupiter is making a nice sextile to Chiron, healing through communication with friends, And then with that Venus, oh, you've got Mars in your seventh. So some sort of hot and heavy relationship comes in, and communication, dating, intimacy, passion. And then perhaps a relationship supports you on this new venture, because if you could be quitting a job and starting your own business, because you're going to have Saturn in your third house for like 3 years. So you could be starting a new business. And so you're then, a partnership comes in and supports with that Mars in your seventh. Could be a partnership comes in and supports, but it's really a relationship looking transit a lot. If you're already in a relationship, you become very close to your spouse. There may be a honeymoon period with that Mars and Leo in the seventh. You guys are going through a real physical time, but then with it trining your third, there's good communication, good spending time together, and then maybe co-collaborating on a business together, starting some sort of project together. What else could we look at there? The opposition in your fourth, you may move, of course, with that full moon opposing your fourth sun there with Uranus, sudden shift in your career, suddenly shock, change, you have to move. That could happen. Let me look at something else. Chiron and Jupiter we looked at in your fifth. Mars there. I think that's kind of pretty much it.
I think we have another relationshipy type of flower. We have the hollyhock for Aquarians. And we've got you were talking about the relationship stuff, and this is another relationship oriented flower. So there could be for some Aquarians some
I bet you I
relation.
did do the card.
Oh, dang, maybe not.
I found it on the other pile.
Oh, shoot.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
So basically relationship challenges that may leave you feeling powerless. So if you're in that situation right now, have awareness around that and know that that is transforming. How is it transforming? By you softening into yourself. This is not like defaulting to where you might be more more aggressive. Think about Aquarians. You guys are here to usher in a whole new way of being. So it starts first with you. There's a potential for transforming through softness. It enhances your confidence in yourself as well. And it magnifies trust and unconditional love. You are here again to be of service. So remember that when you're in service and you're caring for others, you are actually in tune with what you're meant to be doing here. So if you're not in a relationship that is giving you an opportunity to lean more into that soft service side, it might be a relationship to reevaluate, because all of this is leading you down a career path. If any of our relationships at home or things at home aren't stable, that can have an impact everywhere else. So all of this, even though it may seem like it's not connected, is very much connected. And then we've got these beautiful pink flowers, the two here, and then the potential for birthing something new could be for both of them, both parties in the relationship being able to create something else. So
I know a lot of Aquariuses that are in relationships. That's one sign where that both people in the same sign do very well. Like I have a friend that Aquarius, her husband's Aquarius. I just did a reading before this with a woman. She's Aquarius, her husband's Aquarius. When you have two Aquarians, they do well because they're both social butterflies. They're both humanitarians. They're both like on the same page about where to go with life. And so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So I do think for Aquarius, this is definitely them facing their fears, perhaps in quitting a job or taking a particular humanitarian job forward that maybe doesn't pay what they want, but taking the risk and going for it, and it will bless you. The more you take risks on the better.
Okay.
So
Pisces, last but not least.
Ever least. Watery Pisces with the North Node and Saturn still in your house, in your chart. Scorpio is your ninth house, right? So perhaps travel, but triggering, let's look at that Mercury here. Mercury in your third. So communication coming in from the 12th. There definitely is going to be news, communication that triggers you, that kind of freaks you out, that upsets you because it's hitting your third house, that could trigger some deep issues from your past life, because that Pluto retrogrades, bringing some issues up from the past, from your past life, that really trigger your sense of security and stability. And then with that Scorpio in your ninth house, it could shift your beliefs. It could make you realize you have to change something. You have to do something different. Or it could make you realize, it could change your belief with that, which then changes your actions. With Mars in your sixth house, trining Venus in your second house. Oh, nice. You change your belief about something and it makes you change what you do for a living, or what you, in other words, you change your belief around something that makes you be okay to do some kind of work. For instance, I can use my son because he doesn't watch. So he's been doing one form of music, right? But I just don't think it's his true self. He's a really good guitar player. So now there could be a crisis. Somebody could insult him on one of his other ways of making music that makes him really upset, that then makes him really realize and wake up to the belief that he changes his belief about who he is as a musician. And it inspires him, because a lot of times Scorpio stuff is medicine. You don't like it, but stuff that gets communicated during Scorpio season is medicine. And you hear it and it makes you go, I should just do my guitar. I know, and that's my gift, my true gift. You wake up to what your true gift is. You have a shift in your belief because of something that triggers you, something that seems like it's not going to work out. Death and rebirth is the energy of Scorpio. So he has a whole new belief system. It transforms and changes you. So it could be painful with that, square Mercury in that opposition. You let go of something, you release, you let go of a relationship. You might, like, because you got that South Node in your seventh house, so you maybe release another relationship you were collaborating with that now you don't want to work in that way anymore. So you let go of that particular collaborative relationship. But because you're going to have Saturn in your second house, which is going to be a whole new way of making, you're going to set up a whole new structure of making money, a whole new beginning, a whole new career is starting for Pisces, because they've cleared a whole bunch of karma, but they've also become more mature and more responsible with that Saturn in their first. So they're now ready and more mature to take on a new career, and start stabilizing and start structuring that. And then with Mars in the sixth house trining Venus, again, a very creative, lucrative, collaborative, creative financial venture passion project coming in that looks very lucrative, that's going to be very abundant, which is interesting because that's where Venus is. So Venus is where Saturn's going to end up. So Mars is really making a nice new passionate inspired beginning somewhere in that second house, which is creating more money, creating more income, inspired new way of making income coming in for Pisces. So what else can I quickly say about all of that? And then there could be an argument, with, let me see, hang on a minute. Where's that Scorpio house again? Ninth house. Yeah, there could definitely be conflict and something rises up, flares up here. But that then makes you shift your belief system. And with that Jupiter sextiling Chiron, you have a healed response over. That Chiron Jupiter is really good. Jupiter rules Pisces. So whatever conflict shows up, Pisces get over it really quick, but they then discover, they make a decision that changes who they are. They then have a new belief, which really shapes, which is a big part of shaping their new beginnings in that second house of how they make money. So they transform a belief about themselves, which then transforms how they make money. They see themselves more real. Their gift, the hidden talent within them becomes revealed. Hidden talent shows up. Their true gift. Their dharma. Their dharma.
I love that the hidden talent shows up, their true gifts. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be complicated or I think sometimes Pisces can get, it's like they can get confused because they're going into their fears and all the, like, oh, these things could happen and the doom and gloom kind of scenarios. So the chocolate daisy, which I
Oh,
find an interesting flower for this one, reminds them that there's relief in simplicity. So they don't need to overcomplicate things, kind of like with your son,
that's
like doing all these things.
exactly right.
Like they really don't. So this is a prime opportunity for them to have the clarity and the mental spaciousness that they have by simplifying will give them that pathway to joy, give them that pathway to that, like you were saying, their hidden talent and that superpower that they have in a way that can open up doorways of abundance and prosperity as well. So, and the chocolate daisy also gives them an ease in whatever they're doing. So when they're doing when they're operating with their hidden talent, when they've got their talent online, it's easy. It's
Yep,
simple.
right. They
So
tap like flow, liberation.
exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah, that is
this
very Scorpio is this is liberating energy. So transformative and liberating.
feels good.
Yeah.
That feels good for Pisces.
Looks
So
like Pisces are going to be who they truly are because they've got that dark center and then that thing. So it's almost like they're coming from their center now more rather than their head or what they think perceive because that's Pisces. They go way in here and not from here, you
yes.
know.
And get caught in the fear. That to
Yeah.
me is the fear, the dark in the center. And that's not the truth of what's actually happening.
Yes.
So yeah, big one. We went long today, but it needed to be
Wow.
done. It needed to be done. There was lots to share. And um, we're all going to make it through. Like
Yep.
Madeline said, I'm holding on to her words. It'll be a little bit painful, but quick.
Hmm.
We'll learn
Yep.
and grow from it.
Yep.
And then we'll be prepared for the
Action.
Gemini new moon, and then opening up a whole new way of thinking and being in that regard. So
Yes.
this is a really important, potent time. Remember that Pluto retrograde energy is going to be with us for a little while. So we're in the portal of transformation is just now opening. So be be prepared as best you
Yep.
can.
Yep.
It's a
This
flow.
is it is basically a full moon that brings us out of the dark, brings us more enlightenment and more empowerment through enlightenment. That then liberates you because it's a moksha, which means it liberates you so that the pain transforms to power, which then transforms to liberation.
Yes. And so it is.
And so shall it be.
All right, everyone. Thank you for those who
Thanks
are
for
still
watching.
with us. We appreciate you very, very much. And we will be checking comments. So be sure to like and comment and share with others. And we will see you in a couple of weeks with the Gemini New Moon Cosmic Chat.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Ciao
Having
for
a
now.